So this next video that you're about to watch is from a coaching call that myself and Coach V did for our people. And there was just so many gems in there that I have to post it. I have to share it for everybody. And then also what I wanted to let you know was I started my own school community. So find the link down below and make sure you get in now and join the community. It's just about, we're going to be doing challenges. I'm going to be uploading resources. There's going to be some videos that will help you. We're also going to be doing a live Zoom call with me every month where you get to ask me any questions. All right. Without further ado, let's get to the video.
Buckle in. Are you guys ready? Absolutely. Coach Mike's here too. You got tag team, both of us. So you'll probably be hearing from both of us. Really what I want to talk to you about today, how you see God determines how you see yourself. I don't know if you've thought about that before, but actually how you view God is one of the most important things about you, because it's going to color everything that you see. It's going to color the way that you act. It's going to color everything in what you do. I heard somebody say, do you want to come sit over here? I heard somebody say in the context of relationships recently that a good partner, like a spouse or a good partner, they don't just love you, they teach you how to love yourself more, which I think is beautiful. I actually think that's a really beautiful way of looking at like a partnership that you have with like a significant other. I think that the same thing is true with God. When you start to understand who God is genuinely and how he is and how he operates, he will show you how loved you are. And not just loved. That's like one piece of it. I say loved as like a broad word, because within love is a whole lot of things. Like if you're a parent, you know that if you love your kids, you're going to discipline them. If you love your kids, you're going to provide for them. If you love your kids, you're like, there's a certain, so I don't mean this just in a ushy gushy, like feel good way. That's true too, but it's much, much more, much deeper than that. The problem though is that a lot of us at different points in our life have, or either currently or have lived with the wrong picture of who God is. So one thing that I'll share with you, one of my number one core values, and that is God is good. You can argue with me on a lot of things, but that is my number one core value. I will view every single thing in life through that lens. I will not negotiate on that. So no matter what happens, good or bad, I know that God is good. And a lot of the time what happens, and I hear this so much, people start to get bad theology because of disappointment and pain in their life. And so I just want to, I'm bringing this to your attention for a reason. Like I genuinely want you to look at how you view God in your life. And I want you to look at the disappointment that you have in your life. I want you to look at the pain that you've had in your life and go, what conclusion have I drawn about God that actually is not necessarily true? Do you know what I'm saying? When Jesus came to earth, one of the ways that he talked about God was he called him Father. And some of the Pharisees got kind of like upset about it. Like they didn't really like that he called God Father. Like God gave himself a lot of different names in the Old Testament. They were more formal. They were more the ones that I was telling you guys about last week, like Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha. Like there were names of God that revealed parts of his character. All true too, by the way. And when Jesus came, he was like, God our Father. I know he was like, you I only do what I see my Father doing. And it was such a relational, informal way of talking about God that if that it offended the Pharisees. But I think it's significant because if you don't have that sort of lens when you think about the God of the Bible, you're going to filter it through a lot of other things that maybe happened in the Old Testament. But Jesus was like, no, God is our Father. He's like, I only do the things that I see my Father doing. So my question for you that I actually want you to ask when you think about God and the things that happen in your life, I want you to ask, would a good father do that? Because we credit God with things that I actually think the devil does. For example, how many times has something bad happened in someone's life? Maybe they lost a loved one. Maybe somebody got cancer. And and because we're trying to explain pain, people will say, well, it was just God really wanted to take them, or they're one of God's angels now, or it was it was just God's will for them to leave the earth. Is that true though? Is that true? Like, I would question the things that make God look like an abusive father. Like, does he really just take people out like that? I don't think he does. Are you following me? Put in the chat if you're with me right now. If I'm making sense, if this is like hitting, if I'm taking it somewhere here, I promise.
I'm listening.
You're listening?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Coach Mike's listening.
I want to see where you go with it. I have things popping in my head, but
Yeah.
I'm listening. I want to know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
I stay open-minded.
There you go. That's a learner. That's how we gotta be. Receive. I think a personal story actually will kind of help you maybe make sense of this with me. So, the reason why I think it's so important for us to understand who God is in our life is because, like I said, how you see him will affect how you see yourself. So, for example, if you think that God is mad at you, you're going to walk different. You're going to walk with your tail between your legs. You're going to walk like somebody who's condemned. You're going to walk like somebody who has a warrant out for their arrest. You know what I'm saying? You're like, at any moment, he could just like, smack me upside the head. Like, that would be one thing. If you think he's distant, like he just don't care, that's going to affect how you walk around through life. You're going to walk around like nobody cares. Like you're abandoned. Like you're kind of an orphan, basically. Like ain't nobody care about you. So that's why I'm saying like it's super important that we get this like who he is and how he thinks about you. Not how I think he thinks about you, not how he thinks about me, how you think he thinks about you. We have to get that right. So here's my story for you. So back in 2008, I was still living in South Dakota with my family, 4 kids, and my husband at the time wanted to move to California for a job out here. And it was for a pastoring job here in St. Helena, actually. And as soon as we drove into St. Helena, I knew this is where we were going to end up. Like I knew it. Like I just had this feeling. Like I could tell you the exact spot in the town as we drove by where I was just like, bam. And I was not happy about it, to be honest with you. Like I was not excited about the idea of moving out of my home state to California where I didn't know anybody. And for those of you who are living or have lived in other states, like California has a certain image. And I'm just gonna say Midwesterners aren't super favorable of like about 90% of it. And so like I was just like, I don't want to go to California. Like to visit, to live, no. And I was like I said, I wasn't excited about this. I remember I like was torn up about it. I was worried about it. I was fearful about it. I had all these things on my mind. Um, and I remember at the time I literally had a closet that I would go to pray. And I had my journal and I wrote down everything that I was worried about. And I just like surrendered it. I just gave it all to God. I was like, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. And like there's like a lot of people are like, oh, God spoke to me, and like and then like weeks later it turns out like that was just your imagination. Like I know God spoke to me in that moment because it has literally stayed with me all these years later, 17 years later. Like I still know that this is what he spoke to me, and he led me to Psalm 37. And I'm not going to read any of it right now, to be honest with you, but you should go read Psalm 37. And when he showed me Psalm 37, it was like all the things that I was worried about that I had written in my journal and surrendered over to him. It was like he answered every single one. He's like, bam, 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 bam. Like, you're going to be blessed. Your children are going to be taken care of. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. Like, it was all these good promises. Like, Coach Mike was talking about promises on the call on Wednesday. And, like, to me, this still is one of the most impactful promises I feel like God has ever spoken to me. And so I was like, that was my release. I was like, okay, we're going to move to California and God's going to take care of us. And I'm just holding on to these promises that he's given to me. So we're here for like all this time. Um, we're here for like 10, 11 years. And then my husband and I get a divorce. And I was struggling so much, not just with the tangible thing, the divorce, the mess that it caused, the feeling rejected by my community that I once had, like all these things. But I was also struggling with God. I was also struggling with God, like, why would you have me all the way out here for this to happen? Why would all of this happen? And like you brought me out here, like you did, like I was angry. And and I, like that was a whole process. And it was probably almost a year, maybe even 2 years, I can't remember specifically, because at that point like I just like I still believed, but I can't, I would, my anger was just keeping me hard-hearted. Like I didn't really want much to do with what he had talked to me about in the past. Like everything, like I studied for years, like I had a really like good relationship with God all those years. I led worship, I like I was about it. And so for me, when all that happened, like I was just like, yeah, I believe, but like from this really disappointed place, from this place of like I've been hurt. And probably about 2 years um after I got divorced, I sat down and I was going through some of my old journals, and I read that spot where I had surrendered all those things to God, and I was reminded of Psalm 37, and I broke down into tears. And I was mourning over the fact, like, God, I ruined it all. Like, all this has been ruined. Like, you promised all this to me, and like, it's like null and void because like I'm divorced now. So it's done. And he showed me in like a millisecond. He's like, who said that? Who said that? And I realized like I was living like God was angry with me. Like he totally disapproved of all the choices that I had made, and that he was just kind of like, never mind. I'm done with you. If you would have asked me if that's how I felt, I never would have said that. Consciously, didn't think that. Subconsciously, in the back of my mind, he was showing me, no, you have the wrong idea about me. You think I'm angry with you. You think I disapprove of you. You think that everything that I told you before is gone. It's not, though. And it totally flipped everything for me. In that moment, it totally flipped everything for me. And I started like, that's really when like God really restored my identity, who he was to me. Like it was just this total restoration moment. And there was a lot of healing for me in that. I tell you that story though, not to just tell you a story about myself, but because there are things that happen in life that cause us to see God differently. And I want you to flip that. That's why I said at the very beginning of the call, my number one core value is God is good. And so instead of letting my life color my view of God, it's the other way around. I let my view of God color my world. It's also a promise. Yeah.
That's what we talked about on the coaching call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Coach Mike, he was talking about the promises of God on the call on Wednesday, right? And he was talking about how um basically like you have to know what the promises of God are and how powerful that is. This morning in our Saturday workout, and he's talked about this before. I can't remember if he touched on it on Wednesday or not, but in previous calls I know he's talked about like exercising your authority. Like God has given you authority and to speak things like in your declarations where it's like um you can say things like my body is healthy. Even if your body in its current reality isn't healthy, you speak that over yourself and you're like, my body is healthy. But I think a lot of you and me at different points in my life where we've said those declarations and we really haven't believed them yet. And I think this is one of the reasons why, is because you need to know who God is first in order for you to really believe the promises that he has for you and the authority that he's given you. Because when you start, and like I said, God has revealed himself in the Bible in a number of ways. Like there's all kinds of names for God. Like I said, Jesus called him Father. So like knowing the Bible and knowing how he reveals himself, super important. But the one that I want to touch on right now is he's not just our Father, he's also the King of Kings. You guys have heard that, right? Like he's the King of Kings. That, like, I actually want you to meditate on that this week. I want you to think about God as King and also your Father. God is King, he's also your Father. So, what does that make you? It makes you royalty. You're not just a beggar. You're not just a slave. You're not an orphan. You're actual royalty. You feel what I'm saying? Like genuinely like think about it. That's huge. That's huge. Because when you understand your identity, it can help you understand how to operate in God's kingdom. Here's the thing. We live in this world right here. All the things that we see, like I see outside right now, there's curtains in front of me. I'm at Coach Mike's house, so he's got this nice pool in the backyard. We operate on this plane most of the time, everything that we see. Beyond what we can see, though, God's kingdom is operating in the unseen. That's why when your body isn't healthy and you make a declaration like, my body is healthy, you're saying, I'm not just living in this present reality right now, I'm actually living in the reality of the kingdom of heaven. And I'm going to pull that reality to my current reality right now. But unless you know how to operate on that higher level kingdom, you're totally missing out on authority that's already given to you, but you're just not operating in it. It's kind of like this. Harold, if I sent you a check for $10,000, how would that make you feel? Great, right? Um, what if uh would you cash it right away? Yeah. If you Because you know that there's actually $10,000 waiting for you. Like you know that it's good. You're like, "Oh, if I got a check for $10,000, I'm heading to the bank and I'm getting that cash in my bank account or cash in hand, whatever." You're gonna take action with. You're gonna cash the check. A lot of you have a check that you're not cashing. You have authority that you've already been given. God already gave you that authority. He made you his son, he made you his daughter, and you're not cashing in that authority in your life. You're not using your authority to take hold of the promises that God has for you. Do you hear what I'm saying? So I know one of the things that Coach Mike talks about too is like a lot of I know some of you cringe. I can feel the cringe when he's like, some of you are praying wrong. And y'all are like, what? Like, at least I'm praying, okay? But this is what I'm talking about. This is what he's talking about. When you understand who God is and who you are, you pray different. You don't pray like a beggar. You don't pray like a slave. Like, it's the difference between like, oh God, just help me to make it through today. That's the prayer of a slave. That's the prayer of a beggar, right? To whereas if you understand you are a king or a prince, however you want, whatever, royalty, you're a son or daughter of God, you're a kingdom of priests, you're royalty, you have authority, you have a relationship with God, and then you also, all the declarations that you make, when they align with God, it's as good as done. You guys realize that? The weight of authority that you carry when you're in alignment with God, it's, let me say it like this. You all grow up probably watching fairy tales, right? And you understand like Disney fairy tales, kingdoms, princes, princesses, all that kind of stuff. Maybe some Netflix shows about royalty, all that kind of stuff. You know that like when there's a king of a land, like say the King of England, just because that's an easy one to go to, and then the king has like duchesses and lords and ladies and all these people that like they have a little town maybe that they're in charge of. But the King of England is like the supreme ruler. But there's all these other like little mini rulers. That's how you are. You have dominion over, at the very least, your own body and your own home. At the very least, there might be more. There might be more bigger checks for you to cash as far as what it comes to like what you're in charge of. But at the very least, it starts with you and the home that you live in, your household. You have dominion. So when when the king makes a decree, and this is why it's important to know those promises, because what are the laws of the land? What are the things that you have access to as a lord or lady or duchess or baron or however? what are the things that you have access to that you're not taking part in? You know what I'm saying? Like there's there's a treasury at the palace that you just haven't even taken hold of. Are you following this illustration with me? Like there's a lot of things that you have to understand. Like this is why it's important. Like this is why we take that time in the morning, and it's not just for you to like pray like a beggar, it's for you to understand who God is. I want you to know who God is, and I want you to fall in love with him so that you fall in love with yourself more. Because if you knew how much you are loved, you would never have any self-worth issues. You would be bold, you would be confident, you would walk in authority, you would love yourself more, you would help other people more because it's just coming out of that overflow.
Could I say something?
Mm-hmm.
You know how one of the key things that I have everybody do on Team Gas Money is it's yes, coach. Yes, coach. So if I ever ask you guys to do something, it's going to be to your benefit. And the answer should be yes, coach. So if I say, 100 burpees, yes, coach. Macros, hit them within 5 grams, yes, coach. Journal, yes, coach. The same goes for God. It's like, yes, God. Yes, God. When Coach V says, like, if you really knew how much God loved you, all of us, it's not a matter of if God loves you. It's a matter of how much you are saying yes to God. I could tell you and tell you and tell you, but if you're not a good receiver, if you don't say, yes, I receive, yes, I accept, because that's all, you don't need to do no work. The work has already been done. So now it's take that principle of yes, yes, coach, say, yes, God. Yes, God over my finances. They're flourishing. You know what I'm saying? So that's one part because I'm listening to Coach V go in and it's so good. But how many times have I heard so many believers who are just devout in the word? They pray, but I'm like, why are you still struggling? Why do you still have self-worth issues? Why is your bank account not flourishing? Why are you still overweight? Why are these things? Why are you still holding yourself captive? There is a block. There is a massive block with you're not fully receiving, you're not fully surrendering, you're not fully letting go, you're lacking knowledge. And so I'm not here to beat you up. I'm not here to talk down. I'm here to enlighten you to be like, first, it's a matter of opening up your heart and just saying yes. The currency to all this is faith. The spiritual currency is yes, coach, is faith, is trust, is belief. Am I making sense? And so because I'm telling you, I hear so many people what you're going through, and you're like, oh yeah, and you're saying scriptures and this and that, and that's beautiful. But then breath, in the same breath, you're saying, but I just don't believe in myself. I just can't be disciplined. I don't have self-control. I can't do all these things. I'm like, that's double-minded,
Yep.
right? You realize that is actually you are it's a plus and a minus. It doesn't make sense. It's like me saying 1 + 1 is 4.
Yes.
The math ain't mathing at that point. So what I would like, I have only two things that I really want to get across to everybody is number one is that when you pray, it must be precise. So it's like when I give you macros, my macros that I give you are precise. I'm not guessing. They're mathematically precise for your body. When it comes to your life and your problems, you better not just say, God, protect me. You protect against some specific thing. Be precise with your language. Very precise. And we could show you how, like, more in depth. And number two is, I want to touch on a little bit of command, how you command things. You can command things to die or grow. You can command things to die or grow. You really can. Okay, so this is like an art. It's a language. I'm not speaking the language of the world. I'm speaking the language of above, of like a spiritual language. But it takes you to, you have to like really have to step back from the world and be like, oh, he's not playing the rules of the world. He's playing a different game. So I just, that's my little interjection here,
That's
but
good.
I have more, but I just want to throw in there to help.
Yeah.
If you need to sum up anything to make it more clear.
I think that was that helpful, guys? I think that was good.
Anybody who believes in God, make it a point that your life, you should not be down and out. Not for long. You might have a season, maybe a few months, but make it a core value of yours where you're not down and out for 10 years, 5 years. Absolutely not. That is wrong, okay? If you've been going to church for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and things aren't changing, that's because you don't know. You're doing something wrong. It's no different than people going to the gym for 10 years. And I'm like, how long you been going to the gym? And I'm like, come on the program, bro. Let me just help you. And then boom, in 3 months, we get them in completely great shape. I'm like, it's the same thing. Human nature, humans are stupid if you're not really thinking properly. So I'm like, why would it be any different? You've done your life in so many low level ways, not you guys. I'm just speaking generally. You've done your life in such a way. Why would it be any different when you enter the church or when you have a relationship with God? You're going to do that half-assed too. I hope I'm speaking. I hope I'm speaking. I hope I'm not offending you to the point where you're like, damn, like I can't do nothing right. I love you guys. That's my promise. But like, hear me, because this is the pressure that you need.
Yeah. My main thing that I want you guys to take away, like the first thing, there's a lot actually, but think about, how do I see God? And fix that. I really want you to fix that. And I want you to fix that because I want you to be able to fix the way that you see yourself. Because there's a lot of uncashed checks. I know there is. I have uncashed checks. I know that there's things that I haven't completely taken a hold of too. And so I know that there's things for you guys too. So that's not something you can probably like, maybe you are, maybe you're like, I see it already. Like, I know exactly what it is, but even still, I want you to really actually think about it this week. Like, spend some time, in your morning process or your nighttime process and unpack that a bit.
Don't take no for an answer. Your guys' life should progressively be getting better. It's a abundant life. It's a prosperous life. It's a life of growth and evolution. Do not accept a lie of like, I'm supposed to carry my cross and I'm gonna be defeated every single day. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you should be leveling up. You really should. And if you're not, that means something is off. Like, don't let your same vices or secrets or a spirit of lust take you over don't let it be the same thing. Like, don't refuse it. That means we have to go into the freaking war room, the prayer war room, and fix something.
Yep.
And don't be afraid to ask, like, hey, maybe my language is off. I'm telling you, that's the hardest thing for me as a coach, because I'm like, I can tell somebody, oh yeah, your macros are off, your wake ups are off, but I can't, it's very hard for me to be like, well, I don't know what you're praying. That's very intimate. But if you can be vulnerable and be like, well, this is what I'm saying, Mike, like, I want to get your opinion, Coach V. I want to get your, like, is this on par? Would you think this is correct? And that's one of the things that I see a lot. I'm like, you're saying a prayer and it's good, but that's actually not your issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're praying something that's good, but it's not actually the weakness and the issue that you're struggling with. The language matters. It's like when I tell you guys, all right, write me out an identity statement, and you say, I will become a millionaire. I will become successful. Wrong language. I am successful. I am a multimillionaire. It is here. God's promises aren't coming. They are already here. It's right now. And that's why I'm saying the language matters. Are you catching what I'm putting down?
That's good.
Are you receiving it?
That's good. That's a gem right there. That's a gem. All right. I think that's a perfect spot to kind of let you guys sit with it. Let's open it up to questions because I want to make sure we have enough time for questions. But I saw Kaina with her hand raised first, so let's go to Kaina.
Everyone, I'm having like a full circle moment. It's the whole concept of the yes coach. So I worked in hospitality. The culture is the yes chef. If
Yes.
anyone's ever watched like like chefing stuff on TV, it's like yes chef,
Yep.
And I am having a full circle moment because it's I'm seeing that how much that has prepped me for this because I even when I first started the program, I was thinking about my experience working in hospitality, and I was like, I am not a yes chef girl, and I was just like thinking about that, right? I was like, I'm a yes coach girl, like I can do that,
Get over that, yeah.
But on a real note, when I was living the yes chef life, I do remember just surrendering to it, and I just letting go of like, you know what, like it's not my business. I'm just gonna say yes, chef. And there was like disagreements, but at the end of the day, I think it also ties in the whole submissive aspect of it too. Yes, chef. And even if I disagree, yes, chef. So yeah, I feel like that journey is
prepared you.
Prepared me for this, So I'm like,
that's good. Yes, coach. Yeah. Great thing about the yes chef, yes coach, yes God sort of idea is that submission spot is like, if I'm submitting to God, what I'm saying is like, I'm an active participant in this and I will do everything that you have asked me to do. But I know that if this fails, it's on you. So yes, the answer is yes. And same thing when it goes to your with the chef. Like, hey, if this meal sucks, not my fault. Like I said, yes, chef. I did exactly what you told me to do. Same thing with coach, like where it's like if we tell you like, hey, hit these macros, do this, and you end up worse, that's on us. But you did your job. You submitted to the actual plan. You submitted to the coach. We're talking about the promises. God has things for us. And when we talk about the promises, like it's our yes that makes the promise happen. Our yes cashes the check. Our yes, because like it's unclaimed, like you know how like you've heard stories of like unclaimed inheritances of like great grandmother died and she left you all this, but you didn't even know because you didn't know her. But then like all of a sudden like a lawyer, an attorney, a representative of that family finds you and is like, hey, did you know that your great grandmother?
We're some representatives.
We're some representatives. We're like finding you and telling you like, hey, you have an inheritance that you're not like all you have to do is say yes to. All you have to do is say yes. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Like the rest is already done. That's how promises are.
This is going to sound super manipulative. Yeah, I promise it's not. But I think about things in principles. And I truly believe if you cannot honor people, if you are unable to honor your coach by saying yes, I'm like, there is no way that you're going to be able to honor God. And I'll tell you what, you can see me. You can physically see me and my results and what I do for people. That's very easy. You don't even need to have faith. You see it with your eyes. Now, when you go to God, there's a lot of things that you can't see. There's a lot more trust that you're gonna have to give out there.
More faith.
So I'm like, with your people who have that spot of authority in your life, I'll use that word, if you will, honor them, like respect that word because there's a kingdom. There's a hierarchy.
Yep.
And if you're unable to honor even like your mother and father in some ways, and that's the whole different topic. I don't read too into it, but like honor your people because it'll make you better at honoring God. Just trust me on it. Can you clean that up if need be?
I'll just,
Yeah.
that was good. I'll just say this. When we talk about God and kingdom, I think you should start to really make sense of like what does a kingdom operate like? Not the like in an ideal situation, all right? I know, don't get me wrong, there's still like the kingdoms of this world are still run by men. But think about like in an ideal situation, like of like the fairy tales, they run on honor. They run on respect. They run, there's certain operating systems that I don't think that we think about because, we live in America in 2025 in a democracy, in a crazy kind of world right now, and we don't often think about a kingdom operating system. But I actually, when you think about God, I want you to start to make sense of these parallels. Like, no, in a kingdom, there's honor. Like you bow, you everything's like sort of formal, like there's a respect there that you have from your predecessors and different things like that. So I'll just say that there's so much more to that, but I'll leave that right there for now. Let's go to Crystal.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. What I picked up from this call is like everything that you said was so good and was speaking to me because I noticed the three things that I struggle with. It's keeping me where I'm at, and which is, the way I see God, the way it affects the way I see myself and my walk. And I feel like I have a really close relationship with him, but it's the language. And so I'm really trying to I'm in Arizona right now, so when I get home, I'm like, man, I'm just going to like, I have a like, I know what I'm gonna do.
The language for sure. Like if your language is off,
Yeah,
Your destiny will be off. Your language creates your destiny.
yeah,
Whatever you say out loud, that is what creates your future. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying. Like walk around your house and start declaring. When
yeah,
you open up the Psalms, read the Psalms out loud. The Psalms aren't meant to be read in your mind. Read the Psalms out loud. Say your identity out loud. Say your vision out loud. And say it with some conviction. Say it with some authority. Say it with some power. And watch how you feel
yeah,
different. Watch how your life starts changing.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, thank you guys. I think that's it for now. But I really appreciate, last week and this week. Oh my God, Coach B, when you speak, like, I just want to cry. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's God, telling me. So thank you.
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
That's
Thanks for speaking.
Yeah.
Harold, what you got?
Hey, Coach Mike over here. How are you guys?
Good.
So last week, you talked a lot about Adam and him having like a job and a purpose. And my biggest prayer for like the past couple months has been when I wake up is like, God, give me the best people, opportunities, and vibes into my life every single morning. Every single morning, give me the best people, opportunities, and vibes in my life right now. Kept praying on it. I've been praying on it. God, what do I do right now? What do I do right now? He's like, let go, let go, let go. And I was like, I'm scared. Let go. Do you not have faith in me? Do you not have faith in me? Let go. Until this week, I talked to my leaders like, look, I got to let go. I'm done. Now, Coach Mike last week told me, he's like, whatever you take from that opportunity there, it's just not your job. It's your purpose. What do you learn there? You take it to the next step. Like, I have the faith in God that something will come up now if I do take action. And of course, I can't just sit around here doing nothing. That's why I spoke to him now. I was like, go do your workout, control what you can control. When you get back home, start applying it to new places. But the things you've been praying on, they're going to happen. Just have faith.
That's good.
So that's kind of where I've been at right now.
Yeah. I love it. You're making big moves, Harold.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary, but if I didn't make those scary moves and I was 18 and then 22, I would have been where I am today.
Exactly. I think that the times that we actually get closest to God is when we step out and have to operate in faith, because we have to learn how to trust him in those things. So I think you're off on an adventure with God right now, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely, it feels good. Right now, I feel like a sense of relief in a way, but just got to get back to work and keep the process even stronger right now and my faith even stronger right now. Not just, let it handle itself in this. No, now that's where I got to get to even deeper work with God.
Yep. Yep.
I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make is they don't take God with them in every single occasion.
Yep.
In every business move, in every athletic move, in every gym workout. You have to take him everywhere. So, but it takes a certain level of like understanding and faith that needs to be worked on. And it takes time. That's why the program, it's not something that you just learn in 3 months. This program is evolving, and it just depends on the level that you come in at.
Yep.
God should be taken in every realm, especially the ones where you're taking a big jump in.
Yep.
But I don't know why anybody would think about that. Think about how crazy this is, guys. People are psychotic. People are psychotic with this. You'll be like, let's just make something up. Multi-millions, business, best body, a great relationship. I want to travel the world. You want that, but all day. Think about how psychotic this is. You will agree and think about consciously ways that it's not going to work out. How, like, just step back from that reality and be like, that is crazy. So, what we must do is basically block that out. Obviously, this is the program, right? Block that out and only think of ways that it's going to work. Try to go all day and see how much energy you have, because that's a lot of energy leaks right there. That's a lot of energy wasted of you saying that's too much energy. And just think about it's going to work. It's going to work. God's going to shine through my weakness. He's strong. Through my weakness, he's strong. Yeah. So it's like if you ever feel fear or weakness, that's when you rely on God's promises. But if you don't know God's promises and you don't trust it and you don't have faith, you're going to fail. That's why there needs to be a level of knowledge. There needs to be a level of understanding with all this stuff. So try that. That's really my challenge for you. Try all day to just be like, everything's going to work out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just touch on what you had said, Coach Mike, about precise praying. Oh my gosh, that is so powerful. And I've been like a crazy, obsessed mad woman with precise praying. And specifically with two things. One is the weed, like take the desire for the weed out of me, take the desire for validation from men away from me, especially this one particular man. And it's working. I'm like, it's like it's actually working. And I'm starting to realize that some of the things that I've prayed for years ago are actually being answered now. And I had been complaining and like questioning God, like, where is he in all of this, and not realizing that he's actually answering the prayer, but just in a different manner than I asked. And so what I'm intentionally doing now is being grateful for that answered prayer, even though it might suck and it might feel really crappy, because I want God to be a genie and not my heavenly Father, King of Kings. Which, by the way, when you said that, Coach V, I was getting ready and I smacked that on my mirror in my bathroom with red lipstick. Because it's true, he is the King of Kings, and he is my, I don't have parents, my story with my parents. So Coach Mike, when you said, about having all this honor for your mother and father and all of that, and it's like, years ago, that would have just freaking pissed me off. And I'd have been like, I'm done with this program. How dare he be so insensitive? Not everybody has parents, and blah, blah, blah. In my crazy way of thinking, I would have spun that around. But the freedom and the God honoring side of looking at that is, my parents didn't get it right. I endured a lot, but at the same time, they were a 3-year-old little girl or a 3-year-old little boy that endured things that I didn't know about. And so if I'm empathetic with my parents and God, and honor them in that way, and understand that they are sinners like I am, then I can honor them and forgive them and let that go.
Yep.
So good.
And then the prayer time, my relationship with God is starting when you start to peel those layers of unforgiveness and just this vendetta you want to hold against everybody and everything that's ever wronged you. When you start to peel that back, your precise prayers, they just become so natural. I can't explain it any other way. And I don't know, something happened on that one-on-one call the other day, because it was just the other day I was in Miami. I walked away from that call and I told you guys I was going to go run into the ocean, and I heard God in a different way, a very, very different way. And I'm so glad you said that about the parent thing, because I've been so pissed off at my parents for 56 years. 56 years, and there's so much freedom in this one call today. And then the things that Adam was saying about after his divorce and then running to promiscuity. And I mean, I think each one of us can relate to the kinds of attention that can be thrown at us when life changes, and we all want to be seen. We all want to feel valued. We all want somebody to fill up these insecurities inside of us, and the only one capable of doing that is the King of Kings, King of Kings. So, yes, Coach, which is something that my huge ego never allowed me to say. Coach V, Coach Mike, you guys, chef's kiss. You guys are on fire for the Lord. I am so grateful I hopped on this call. I'm so grateful that I spoke up today, and I'm very excited for the future for the first time in a very, very, very long time. Long time. So thank you guys.
Amazing. Yay. I know everyone's like clapping, cheering. You got hearts, you got cares, you got everything. That's so good. So good.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks for not giving up on a freaking wretched, wicked woman like me. Thank you guys.
We're all like, I was saying it, I don't even know if we put it up yet, but Coach Mike was talking about rock bottom, and I'm like, if you think about it, we're all at rock bottom. Like we're all we're all everything, you know. We're all wonderful, we're all wretched, we're all sinners, and we're all saved. Like we're all everything. So that's why it's like I don't judge anybody for anything. I know that tables could turn, everything could be flipped in a moment, and I could be in a totally different spot in a good way or a bad way. So I don't take anything for granted, and I don't judge anybody for where they're at on anything. So there is no giving up on this team ever, on anybody, on ourselves, on our purpose, none of it. No giving up. So
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.